Welcome to the Bookmind channel. I'm Sarah and this is David.
Welcome to the Bookmind channel, where we do deep dive conversation on famous English books.
Today, we're really diving deep into a fascinating one. Daniel Kahneman's Nobel Prize-winning masterpiece, Thinking, Fast and Slow.
Absolutely. It's a book that, well, it really changes how you see your own mind.
Exactly. You know, if you've ever made one of those snap decisions you instantly regret, or maybe you find you're always a bit too optimistic about how things will turn out, then this deep dive is definitely going to give you some aha moments.
Yeah, the core idea Kahneman presents is, frankly, kind of startling. It's that your brain is fundamentally, well, lazy.
Lazy, that sounds a bit harsh.
Maybe, but it's designed that way. It wants to conserve energy, and often that means taking shortcuts, even if it means sacrificing accuracy.
So it actually deceives you.
In a way, yes. It uses these mental shortcuts to avoid the hard work, the exhaustion of really thinking things through.
Okay, so our mission today, for you listening, is to unpack Kahneman's insights. We don't give you the tools, the frameworks, maybe some strategies.
So you can start to recognize when your mind is taking that easy route.
Right. The goal is to help you become a more, let's say, decisive master of your own thinking, training your brain to focus on reality, not just assumptions.
Okay, let's unpack this.
So the foundation of the book is this idea of two systems of thinking. Where do we start?
Well, Kahneman built on work by psychologists Keith Stanovich and Richard West. They proposed we basically have these two modes, or systems, running the show upstairs. System 1 and System 2.
Let's tackle System 1 first. That seems to be the troublemaker.
Often, yeah. Think of System 1 as your mental autopilot. It's the speed demon. It's automatic, incredibly fast, intuitive.
So like gut feelings, habits.
Exactly. Gut feelings, habits, instant associations. It operates with almost no effort, no real conscious control. You hear a sudden loud noise, you jump. That's System 1.
All right.
Or, someone asks you what's 2 plus 2. The answer just pops into your head.
Right. No calculation needed.
Precisely. System 1 jumps to conclusions because its main goal is efficiency. Save time, save energy.
Got it. The impulsive driver, always looking for the shortcut. So System 2 must be the cautious one.
That's a good way to put it. System 2 is like the strict head teacher. Or maybe think of it as the chief financial officer of your mental resources.
Managing the cognitive budget.
Yeah, it allocates attention, focuses on effortful mental activities. It's slow, deliberate, logical, fact-based. It looks things over carefully.
So, complex calculations, reasoning through a problem.
That's System 2 work. If System 1 hits something genuinely tricky, like, say, calculating 23 times 37.
Okay, definitely not System 1 territory.
Right. Ideally, System 1 should pause and say, whoa, need some help here, and pass it over to System 2, the head teacher.
That's how it should work, but that's not always what happens, is it?
Not at all. And this is where, as you said, it gets really interesting. The problem is when System 1 gets a bit arrogant.
It was rogue.
Kind of. It wants to keep conserving that energy, so it assumes it can handle the problem itself. Sometimes it even swaps a hard question for an easier one without you realizing it.
Oh, that's sneaky.
It really is. And the more effort something seems to require, the more System 1 tries to cut corners, reduce the attention needed.
Which leads straight to mistakes. Jumping to conclusions.
Exactly. Reduced accuracy. And that rushed, low attention state, that's prime territory for cognitive biases to creep in.
Biases, the mental shortcuts System 1 loves.
Loves them. But they almost always lead to conclusions that are, well, fundamentally inaccurate.
Let's dig into some specific examples. How about the sample size fallacy? That sounds important.
It really is. System 1 has this tendency to just believe whatever small piece of information it gets, especially if it's vivid or recent.
So it doesn't think about the bigger picture.
Not really. Kahneman uses this illustration. Imagine you hear 5 million people in France eat toast for breakfast.
Oh.
System 1 doesn't immediately go, hold on, how many millions of people actually live in France? What's the percentage?
No, it just thinks, wow, French people must love toast.
Pretty much. It takes that small sample and just generalizes instantly. You see this everywhere, especially online, right? One viral story becomes proof of a massive trend.
Yeah, substitutes actual analysis for a quick, easy generalization. That's a huge takeaway. For anyone listening, be really careful about conclusions drawn from small, even if they're emotionally grabbing, samples.
Absolutely. And that connects nicely to another big one, the anchoring effect. Kahneman and his collaborator Amos Tversky did amazing work on this.
This is the one that shows how a totally random number can mess with your judgment, right?
The classic experiment involved University of Oregon students. They had this wheel of fortune.
Like a game show wheel?
Yeah, but it was rigged.
Yeah.
It would only land on either 10 or 65. So students spin the wheel, see the number, and then they were asked to estimate something completely unrelated.
Which was?
The percentage of African nations in the United Nations.
Okay, totally random connection.
Completely random. But the number they spun the anchor had a massive effect.
How so?
The students who spun a 10 gave significantly lower estimates for the percentage of African nations in the UN compared to those who spun at 65.
Wow. So the number stuck in their head even though it meant nothing.
Exactly. System 1 just latched onto that first number it saw and used it as a starting point, a reference, even though logically it was totally irrelevant.
That's actually kind of unnerving. It makes you feel like your thoughts aren't entirely your own.
Well, Kahneman himself said it makes us far more suggestible than most of us would want to be. And this vulnerability gets amplified by another bias, the availability heuristic.
Availability. That's about how easily something comes to mind, isn't it?
Precisely. How readily available is an example or a memory?
Okay, I think I fall for this one. Like, if you hear about a really awful plane crash on the news,
Yeah.
the next day, suddenly flying feels incredibly dangerous. Even though, statistically, the actual risk hasn't changed one bit.
That's it, exactly. The vivid, recent, easily recalled memory, the available one, overrides the statistical reality for System 1. It's feeling over facts.
So how do we fight that? We need to bring in the head teacher.
You got it. We need to deliberately engage System 2. System 2 is the one that understands and works with statistics, with data.
Because real, solid arguments need facts, not just anecdotes.
Right. Regardless of how compelling or emotional that one story might be, System 2 needs the broader data.
But isn't there a problem when facts clash with our own lived experience? The book talks about this, right?
Oh, absolutely. That's a huge hurdle. System 1 is deeply influenced by what we've personally seen and experienced.
So the example given, if you grew up in a culture that doesn't eat meat, maybe.
Yeah, if that's your lifelong reality, System 1 might really struggle to accept a statistic, like, say, humans are responsible for killing, 65% of animals worldwide each year.
Even if the stat is solid, your personal experience screams, that can't be right.
Exactly. Your System 1 throws up a red flag against the cold data because it doesn't match your world. This internal clash highlights why making unbiased predictions is so hard but so important.
Because we tend to predict based on what just happened or what feels familiar, pure System 1 stuff.
Right. To get unbiased, you have to start with the baseline, the average objective information available, the statistics.
Get the big picture first.
Yes. And then, carefully, deliberately, you incorporate more specific data, more facts, using System 2 to adjust from that baseline. You force System 2 to do the heavy lifting.
And if we want our own well-reasoned System 2 conclusions to actually persuade others, clarity is key.
Absolute crucial. Kahneman had great advice on this. If you care about being thought credible and intelligent, do not use complex language where simpler language will do.
Simple language signals confidence. Makes it easier for the other person's System 1 to accept.
You nailed it. Simplicity makes it feel fluent, easy to process, which System 1 interprets as likely being true. And this is vital, especially now, with the sheer volume of misinformation out there.
Yeah, the book mentions this danger, information being deliberately twisted.
Rewritten to push an agenda, political or commercial. It creates and reinforces biases because System 1 often just accepts stuff if it's simple, repeated often, and maybe fits what it already suspects.
And that statistic was pretty shocking. 52% of Americans regularly seeing fake news online.
It's staggering. That constant drip feed of biased, simplified information can seriously warp how System 1 perceives reality.
Okay, so far System 1 sounds like the villain of the piece, just this source of error and bias.
Right, it can feel that way, but, Kahneman is clear. We need both systems. The brain needs that balance. System 1 isn't inherently bad.
It's fast, it handles routine stuff.
Exactly. We'd be exhausted if System 2 had to check everything. The real problem isn't System 1 itself, it's being unaware of its specific biases, letting them run unchecked.
We need to shine a light on them, like that WYSIAD bias.
Ah, yes. WYSIAD stands for what you see is all there is.
Catchy acronym.
It is. And it captures System 1's ultimate limitation perfectly. Because System 1 works with limited information, whatever is easily available, it naturally concludes that this limited information is the whole story.
It doesn't consider what it doesn't know.
Precisely. And that leads directly to overconfidence.
Ah, right. That feeling of certainty. You just know you're right.
But that feeling often just means System 1 found the information easy to handle and didn't bother calling in System 2. You feel confident based on incomplete data.
And that can lead to massive mistakes in business and personal life, assuming things will work out because you haven't considered the missing pieces.
Huge failures stem from this over-optimism, this assumption that because the path to success seems clear in your head, the success itself is guaranteed. We need something to break that cycle.
Which brings us to a really practical tool from the book, the pre-mortem tactic. This sounds counterintuitive, but powerful.
It really is. It's designed specifically to counteract that dangerous optimism by forcing System 2 engagement.
Okay, so how does it work? Instead of planning for success,
You flip it completely. Imagine you're starting a big project. Instead of asking, okay, team, how do we make this succeed? You say, all right, let's imagine it's 6 months from now, and this project has failed. Utterly, spectacularly failed.
ouch. Start with the disaster scenario.
Exactly. You assume failure is a fact.
Yeah.
Then you use System 2, your logic, analysis, critical thinking, to work backward. What went wrong? Why did it fail?
So everyone brainstorms potential reasons for failure.
Yes. What were the hurdles we didn't anticipate? Where were the weaknesses? What specific things caused this collapse? By identifying all those potential points of failure before you even start.
You can actually fix them
Yeah.
proactively.
Right. It forces everyone to shift from wishful thinking to realistic risk assessment. You're actively looking for problems to solve.
That makes so much sense, shifting focus from optimism to risk management. Now, speaking of risk, emotions play a huge role too, especially with memory. What's this idea of tainted memory?
Yeah. System 1's memory is peculiar. Doesn't really care about the overall duration or average quality of an experience.
What does it care about then?
It primarily remembers the peaks, the most intense moments, good or bad, and how the experience ended. The peak-end rule.
Okay, so the vacation example they use. You have an amazing 2-week trip, just perfect.
Pure bliss. But then, right at the end, maybe on the last afternoon, your phone gets stolen. You feel that intense anger, frustration.
Right, a strong negative peak at the end.
That single intense negative event can disproportionately taint the entire memory of the trip.
So even though 99% of it was great,
The memory gets skewed by that bad ending. System 2 might know, logically, that the phone theft was unlikely to happen again, but the strong negative feeling associated with the place dominates System 1's memory.
and you might irrationally avoid going back there ever again.
Exactly. That fear of experiencing loss or pain again is a powerful driver for both systems, actually. They tend to push us towards the safest option, the one that avoids potential loss.
Like, if you find out your ex might be at a big party.
Yeah. System 1's immediate reaction is often pure avoidance. Don't go. Potential for awkwardness, pain, emotional loss.
Just stay home, it's safer.
But that's where you need to hit the brakes. Engage System 2. Instead of just reacting to the fear of loss, you have to ask the critical questions.
Like, okay, realistically, what are the chances seeing my ex will actually ruin the whole night?
Right. And what am I potentially missing out on the opportunity cost by just staying home out of fear?
It's about using realistic probability to counter that instinctive aversion to potential pain.
Okay, so bringing this all together, if we synthesize this whole framework, what's the core message for someone listening who wants to make genuinely better choices day to day?
I think it boils down to this. Be aware that your unconscious experiences, your habits, your biases, they are constantly shaping your thoughts. And those thoughts directly influence your actions.
So the key is awareness.
Awareness, definitely. The goal is to make sure your choices aren't, soaked in easily digestible misinformation or based on faulty System 1 assumptions. It's not that thinking fast is inherently wrong.
Not at all. It's essential.
Yeah.
But you need to be reasonably sure, especially for important decisions, that cognitive biases aren't the ones actually driving the bus.
Sometimes thinking slow using System 2 feels like effort.
It is effort. That's the point.
But just stopping, even for a second, can be the difference between a sound, logical decision and a really costly mistake based on a gut feeling gone wrong.
That pause is critical. It's hitting the cognitive brakes to give System 2 a chance to engage.
So to help people listening actually do this, the source material offers some concrete steps, right?
Yeah, a couple of really practical things. First, try journaling for a few minutes. Just jot down your decisions, especially the quick ones, and why you made them. See if you spot patterns. Are they based on facts or just intuition?
Interesting. Become your own researcher.
Kind of. And second, actively challenge your own biases. Intentionally seek out and read solid facts, reliable statistics, especially those that might contradict your current worldview. force System 2 to grapple with uncomfortable data.
And the big one.
The big one is simply this. Every time you face a decision that matters, even a little bit, just pause. Stop for a second, think it through. That simple act of putting on the brakes lets System 2 step in and do its crucial work.
Pause, reflect, engage the head teacher.
Got it. Well, this has been incredibly insightful. Thank you for walking us through Thinking Fast and Slow.
My pleasure. It's a book that really rewards the deep dive.
Like, share, and subscribe to our channel, the Book Mind channel.